Good evening and welcome to Dalsan English. I am Mohamed Saido coming to you from Mogadishu. Tonight we bring you the latest development from Somalia across the Horn of Africa and around the world with accurate reporting, balanced analysis and stories that matter to you. In our top stories in tonight's bulletin, Somalia activates national emergency health protocols following confirmed Ebola outbreaks in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda. The government orders immediate screening at all airports, seaports and land borders. The Somali National Army, backed by international partners, raids Al-Shabaab base in Lower Shabelle. At least 6 fighters are killed. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan sets a 6 to 9 month timeline for Turkey's historic deep-sea drilling mission off the coast of Mogadishu. Police commander and human rights official meet in Mogadishu to build a formal framework for cooperation, placing civil protection at the center of policy. And elections for district chairpersons across the Banadi region will take place immediately after the Eid holiday under a direct one-person, one-vote system. Good evening once again. Somalia has activated a national emergency health protocol following a confirmed Ebola outbreak in Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. Health officials in Mogadishu held an urgent meeting yesterday ordering immediate screening at all airports, seaports and land borders. The government says no suspected cases have been reported inside the country so far, but preparations is underway across all regions. Our reporter Amina Yusuf has more on this.
The federal government of Somalia has activated national emergency protocols in response to confirmed Ebola outbreaks in the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Uganda. Yesterday in Mogadishu, health authorities swiftly convened a high-level emergency coordination meeting at the Public Health Emergency Operations Center at the National Institute of Health. Dr. Mariama Mohamed Hussein, acting minister and Minister of State for Health, presided over the session, which was also attended by Deputy Minister Dr. Mohamed Hassan Bulale. According to officials, the focus is on the Bundibugyo Ebola virus strain that is currently circulating in Central and East Africa. The government is determined to prevent any possible spread into Somalia through strengthened surveillance and rapid response measures. Among the significant decisions are the enhancement of screening at airports, seaports and land borders, the strengthening of laboratory diagnostic capacity across regions and the standardization of infection prevention protocols in public. The ministry has also directed the immediate stockpile and verification of personal protective equipment for frontline workers. Senior health officials, along with partners from the World Health Organization, IOM and AFINET, approved a binding operational timeline. This includes a 3-day rollout of localized response frameworks and a 7-day national readiness plan. Dr. Mariama praised the dedication of the teams and emphasized that the federal government is prepared to deploy all resources to protect the country's public health. This proactive step comes as Somalia continues to strengthen its health security system in a region characterized by frequent cross-border movement. Residents are asked to cooperate with medical personnel, stay alert, and report any suspicious symptoms right away. Authorities say the situation is closely monitored, with no suspected case reported within Somalia so far.
We now turn to security. The Somali National Army, backed by international partners, has raided an Al-Shabaab base in the Ugunji area of Lower Shabelle. At least 6 fighters were killed, according to the Ministry of Defense. Officials say the operation targeted militants who were mobilizing to attack civilians. Our reporter Abdirizak Ali has more on this latest offensive.
Somali National Army, backed by international partners, has raided an Al-Shabaab base in the Ugunji area of Lower Shabelle. The operation targeted militants who were reportedly mobilizing to attack civilians. According to Somalia's Minister of Defense, at least 6 fighters were killed and weapons along with military equipment were destroyed. The ministry says this was a planned targeted raid aimed at disrupting groups' regrouping efforts. In a statement, officials reiterated that the armed forces remain committed to intensifying operations until the threat to the Somali people is eliminated. Authorities are now appealing to residents to continue cooperating with security agencies as the government pushes ahead with efforts to restore stability. This latest raid comes amid renewed military offensives across central and southern Somalia. Government forces often working alongside local militias and international allies, have stepped up pressure on Al-Shabaab strongholds. But despite losing territory in recent years, the Al-Qaeda-linked group continues to stage bombings and armed attacks targeting security forces, government officials, and civilians, particularly in Mogadishu and parts of the south. The federal government has repeatedly vowed to escalate its campaign, insisting that these operations are part of a broader strategy to weaken the group's capacity and secure liberated communities.
Now to a major development in Somalia's quest for energy independence. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan has set a clear timeline for the country's offshore drilling mission in Somalia, saying Ankara expects to complete operations within 6 to 9 months. Speaking at the Istanbul Natural Resources Summit, Erdogan described the project as a historic operation and Turkey's first deep-sea exploration drilling abroad. He expressed hope that the mission will deliver long-awaited good news to the Somali people who have endured decades of instability and hardship. The drilling is being carried out by the Turkish Dripsi Chara Bay at the Urat 1 well located about 370 kilometers off the coast of Mogadishu. The well could reach a total depth of 7,500 meters, nearly 4,000 meters below the seabed, making it one of the most ambitious drilling operations ever attempted in Somali waters. The operation follows a 234-day survey by Turkey's seismic vessel Orus Reis, which collected 3D data across more than 4,400 square kilometers. Somali officials have hailed the campaign as a national project, with President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud stressing that any oil wealth will belong to all Somalis. Turkey has become one of Somalia's closest partners over the past decade, investing in infrastructure, security, education, and trade. But the oil deal has also drawn scrutiny, with critics pointing to revenue-sharing terms that allow Turkey to recover up to 90% of cost in the early stages. For now, all eyes are on the drilling. If commercially viable oil is discovered, it could transform Somalia's economy. If not, the mission will still mark a significant milestone in the country's long search for energy independence. Just days before Eid al-Adha, families in Mogadishu are facing a sharp rise in the price of goats and sheep, putting the annual sacrifice out of reach for many. At the capital's Dayah market, goats are now selling for between $190 and $350, with some animals approaching $400. Traders blame a severe drought and rising transport costs for reducing the number of healthy livestock reaching the city. Our reporter Amina Yusuf reports.
Just days before Eid al-Adha, families in Mogadishu are facing a severe financial burden. The price of goats and sheep has more than doubled in the capital's main livestock markets. At Dayah Market, one of the largest trading centers, goats now sell for between $190 to $350. Some animals are approaching $400. Traders blame a prolonged drought, weak household incomes, and high transport costs. One seller told Dalsan English that the lack of rain and limited pasture have reduced the number of healthy animals arriving in the city. The impact is also felt by Somali families abroad. In Dubai's Al Qusais market, Somali sheep prices have risen by 40%. Kamran Khan of Mohamed Ijaz Livestock Trading said that regional tensions and shipping disruptions have made the increase much sharper this year. Somali sheep that sold for around $204 are now going for between $270 and $300. Eid al-Adha is one of the holiest days in the Islamic calendar, when families traditionally slaughter livestock as an act of faith. But this year, many Somali households are reconsidering what they can afford. A sheep that used to cost $150 is now worth more than $250, a heavy burden for families already struggling with inflation. The price surge reflects a wider strain on the region's livestock economy. Drought, weak purchasing power, and disrupted trade routes are combining just days before one of the busiest buying periods of the year. Disruptions linked to tensions around Strait of Hormuz have increased shipping costs, with some sellers now considering importing livestock by air from India instead. Amina Yusuf, Dalsan English.
Moving on, the Somali police force is moving to strengthen its relationship with the country's human rights watchdog. The police commissioner, Major General Asad Osman Abdullahi, held a high-level meeting in Mogadishu with the National Human Rights Commission. Both sides agreed, as our own Amina reports, that protecting citizens must be at the center of policing.
The Somali police force is moving to strengthen its relationship with the country's human rights watchdog. Police Commissioner Major General Asad Osman Abdullahi held a high-level meeting in Mogadishu with the National Human Rights Commission. The goal, according to officials, is clear: to build a formal framework for cooperation that puts the protection of citizens at the center of policing. Both sides agreed that respect for human rights is not a barrier to effective security work, but rather a foundation for lasting public trust. Commissioner Asad Osman Abdullahi emphasized that police reforms are already underway. He told the commission that his forces are committed to operating within the law and that civilian rights will be upheld even as the police pursue its security mandate. For her part, Dr. Sabrina Ali Eid welcomed the commissioner's stance. She noted that the commission has documented both progress and persistent challenges over the years, but she expressed cautious optimism, saying that direct engagement with security institutions is the only path toward meaningful change. The meeting comes at a critical time, as Somali security forces take on greater responsibility in the fight against Al-Shabaab, and as the country prepares for universal suffrage. The treatment of civilians by police has come under renewed scrutiny. Residents and right groups have previously raised concerns about arbitrary arrest and excessive forces in some operations, but both sides confirmed that technical committees will now work together to turn today's promises into on-the-ground protections.
Elections for district chairpersons across the Banadr region will take place immediately after the Eid holidays. Interior Minister Ali Yusuf Ali, widely known as Hosh, confirmed yesterday in Mogadishu. He said councillors will use a direct one-person, one-vote system. Abdurazak Ali has more on this.
Somalia's federal government has officially announced that elections for district chairpersons across the Banadr region will take place immediately after the Eid holidays. Interior Minister Ali Yusuf Ali, known as Hosh, confirmed the timeline in Mogadishu. He was speaking at the opening of a major training workshop for the 390 members of the Banadr Regional District Councils. According to the minister, the councillors will now use a direct one-person, one-vote system to elect their district chairpersons once the festivities are over. He described this as a core part of the government's broader plan to strengthen local governance and build democratic institutions from the ground up. The training workshop itself focuses on several key areas. These include leadership development, working within legal frameworks, managing local administrations, and accelerating the delivery of a basic 16 districts across the Banadr region finally got their directly elected representatives. Now, the training underway, attention is Mohamed Hussein, widely known as Mungab. Mayor Mungab told the councillors that a great expectation rests on them. He urged them to become a new generation that prioritizes accountability, community service, and governance built on law and integrity. This entire process follows the historic district council elections held on December 25, 2025. Those elections revived the local government system in the capital after a long break.
Prominent Somali religious scholars led by influential cleric Sheikh Mohammed Abdi Umal have harshly criticized Somaliland's recent diplomatic move to establish formal ties with Israel. In a public address, Sheikh Umal warned that Somaliland's proposed embassy in Jerusalem is a dangerous concession that jeopardizes sovereign Muslim lands. Somaliland, which declared independence from Somalia in 1991 but is still not recognized internationally, had actively sought unconventional foreign alliances. Analysts see establishing ties with Israel as a strategic, albeit highly controversial move to gain leverage and secure support from Western allies, particularly the United States. The backlash puts significant internal and regional political pressure on the authorities in Hargeisa. It risks alienating conservatives' local populations and drawing harsh criticism from Somalia's federal government in Mogadishu, as well as the larger Arab and Muslim world. In other news, Somalia's passport has once again shown modest strength in the latest global rankings. placing the countries ahead of several nations despite ongoing challenges. According to the Henley Passport Index for 2026, released this week, the Somali passport ranks 98th worldwide. Holders can now travel to 32 destinations without needing a visa in advance or can obtain one on arrival. This places Somalia ahead of Pakistan, Yemen, Iraq, Syria and Afghanistan, which sit at the bottom of the global list. Amina Yusuf reports.
Somalia's passport has once again shown modest strength in the latest global rankings, placing the country ahead of several nations despite ongoing challenges. According to the Henley Passport Index for 2026, released this week, the Somali passport ranks 98 worldwide. Holders can travel to 32 destinations without needing a visa in advance or can obtain one on arrival. This places Somalia ahead of Pakistan, Yemen, Iraq, Syria and Afghanistan, which sit at the bottom of the global list. Afghanistan remains at the very end with access to just 23 countries. Top of the index are Singapore, Japan and South Korea, whose citizens enjoy visa-free or visa-on-arrival access to around 187 to 192 destinations. In Europe, countries like Germany, France and Italy continue to perform strongly. Within Africa, Seychelles and Mauritius lead the continent, followed by South Africa, Botswana and others. Somalia's position reflects the broader reality many Somali citizens face when traveling internationally. Yet it also highlights small but steady progress compared to previous years. Residents and analysts note that passport power is closely tied to diplomatic relations, economic stability and security improvements. Over the past decade, some African nations have seen gains through better regional agreements and stronger international partnerships. Somalia officials continue efforts to enhance the document's credibility and expand travel options for citizens. In a world where mobility opens doors to business, education, and family ties, even incremental improvements matter deeply to many families. This latest ranking serves as both a reminder of the work ahead and a sign that Somali determination continues to push the nation forward on the global stage.
And finally, a historic moment in Somali women's football. For the first time ever, Somalia will compete in the CECAFA Under-17 Women's Championship. The Junior Ocean Stars have been drawn in Group A alongside Tanzania, Kenya and Sudan. It is a remarkable step for a nation where women's football has long faced cultural and logistical hurdles. The Somali Women's Football Federation was only formally recognized in recent years, and many of these young players have had to train amid insecurity, limited facilities and deep-seated social taboos. Yet grassroots programs in Mogadishu and diaspora communities have slowly built a pipeline of talent. The tournament kicks off in Dar es Salaam on June 13th. No matter the result, just taking the pitch marks a victory for a generation of Somali girls daring to dream of a future in the sport. That's all from our news desk here at Dalsan English. Thank you for watching and trusting us to keep you informed. For continued coverage, breaking updates and in-depth analysis, stay connected through our digital platforms and social media channels. I've been your presenter, Mohamed Saido. Good night. Stay safe.